Hi everybody. The purpose of this video is to communicate the expectations for what needs to be included in homework that you submit for credit. Number one is the homework should be done on a separate sheet of paper unless otherwise instructed. Number two, on that piece of notebook paper, you need to have your name, first and last, the period that you have the class, and then the assignment, what exercise set and what problems out of that exercise set. Okay, the next part is showing your work. All right, to show your work, I should be able to look at your work and understand how you arrived at your answer. So it's not acceptable to say I put the equation into Desmos and got the information off of the graph. All right. That's only acceptable if the instructions say use a graphing calculator or a GDC, graphic display calculator. Otherwise, you have to show how you arrived at your answer, and I'll demonstrate what that looks like here in a minute. Next up, your work is neat and organized. Okay, I prefer that you do it in pencil, and that if you make a mistake, you're not scratching out the pen and rewriting it. Do it in pencil. When you're asked to do a sketch of a graph, that the sketches are neat and labeled, and here's an example of what that looks like. All right, the last couple of assignments, we've had things where you had to draw quadratics, and if you look at this sample that I took out of a student's homework, there's the quadratic, they have the points labeled neatly, and I can look, that tells me that the student is communicating to me the important points as indicated in the instructions. So turning in something that is a sketch like this is not acceptable. Okay, there's no information conveyed in that. All right, homework that doesn't meet the expectations that I'm describing to you, I'll code in the grade book with the abbreviation RE. And that means you can redo the assignment because it wasn't to the expectations that I expect from high school IB math students. All right, at the time, after you resubmit that assignment, I will change the grade from a 0 to a 70%. So here's some examples of what a quality homework is for an IB math class. So number one here is that the student has their name, I just blurred it out, the class, the period, and then what the assignment is. Okay, so that's the first thing. The work is done on a separate sheet of paper. All right, now this is an example of assignment 3, exercise set 3.0 in our textbook. Okay. Now, in your syllabus for the class, if you go back and find that, there is a link to a digital copy of our textbook, and I'm showing you that link right now. I bookmarked this link if you haven't already. And let's take a look at what the problem was, what the exercise was asking you for, and then how this person's work satisfies the requirement of showing her work or his work. All right, so here's exercise 3.0, and the question, that first question was asking you to take the graph in A and write the equation of the quadratic in general form. So that's general form right there. Now in this quadratic, you're given the vertex and you're given a separate point on the graph. Now, I did examples of these. That should be in your notes and also in the video that goes with this lesson. But your textbook also shows you, has really well-written examples in it and how they are worked out. So the level of work shown in these examples here would be acceptable for the level of work that I would expect from you guys. So here's an example. If you look at example B right here, it's the same type of question as 1A. All right, and then here's the level of work that I would expect from you. Okay, the work that is shown here in the left-hand column. I can look at that then, and that tells me, okay, you're communicating how you got the answer, and that's what I expect. You don't need to have the written explanations that are off to the right here. All right, so back to this sample paper. That student shows the values of HK, X, and Y, which is just like in that example. Okay, then right here in this box, they demonstrated how they found the value of A, and then they took the value of A, put it into the vertex form, then expanded vertex form, and got it into general form. So that's an example of showing your work on how you arrived at the answer in general form. Okay, that's the expectation. All right, and then there's a couple more examples on here on other problems from that particular assignment with comments on how they took the information from the problem, plugged it in this case to the factored form, got the value of A, plugged that then into the factored form of the equation and multiplied it out to get the answer. Okay, so this is the level of work detail that I would expect for you to have in your assignments in order to earn credit. So I hope that clears up what I expect, and I'll see you next time in class. Bye-bye.